Hey, and welcome to Teagsley Talks. I'm Tegan, a wellness enthusiast, conscious creator, and life learner, where we talk all things well-being, spirituality, lifestyle, and mindset. I give you an inside look at my brain, my habits, and the life I live, so together we can live our dream lives. Here we are a community of loving souls wanting to live incredible lives and feel wildly good doing it. Join me every week as I download the next potty of goodness. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Tegan and I'm your host, and today we are going to talk about designing a life you love, and we're going to walk through some habits, alignment, and intentional ways of living. So if you're new here, thank you so much for listening, and for all those regular listeners, welcome back. Thank you again for choosing me to be in your ears. If you're on visual, welcome. I actually couldn't figure out how to get the video onto Spotify, so it's on YouTube if you want to just watch along at home. So I've got my phone here so I stay on track and don't get off on a little tangent. Also, if you can tell, my voice is a bit different. I'm pretty under the weather, but I'm determined to sit here and record, and I actually already tried to record, but anyway, we're here now. So today we're going to figure out how to go from feeling like you're on the hamster wheel and you're just going day by day, feeling a little bit dull, lackluster, and like there's no clarity. And we're going to move into waking up, feeling excited for the day, feeling motivated, driven, and feeling like you're living a life aligned. I get a lot of people coming to me and they say that they feel stuck or they're not sure what direction to go into, and also this whole I'm not feeling motivated at the moment. So we're going to shift out of that sort of autopilot way of living into this intentional way of living and how you're going to do that. And at the end of this, I'm going to speak about some tools that I use myself personally and also for my clients to help live the life that you truly deserve to live and to feel healthy and happy every single day in your aligned life. So first, let's do some breath work. Because I am unwell, I actually don't usually do breath work because I'm quite congested at the moment. So we're just going to do our normal summer vritti, which we are all probably getting so good at. So we're just going to do 3 rounds of using our 4-second count. For everyone that's new, we're just going to breathe in through the nostrils for 4 seconds and out through the nostrils for 4 seconds. We're not going to do any holds or anything, purely because I can't breathe properly at the moment. So everyone take a nice deep breath in. And a nice long exhale out. Inhale in through the nostrils for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Feel the belly. Exhale out. Oh, I just love breath work so much. Okay, so first, let's dive into a little life update. We'll set the intention and then we'll move into today's topic. So last week, I actually totally forgot to update you guys on Agnes Water. Everyone was asking, where did I actually go? So I went north of where I live, 4.5 hours up to Agnes Water for a solo trip, because if you don't know, my dog passed away at the start of last month, and I have had him for 10 years and I have camped with him every single time. So I really wanted to kind of get it out of my system that I could camp alone without my partner because he works away. So I wanted to make sure that I could prove to myself that I could go camping alone and, you know, have that independence and to not be scared and to just do the thing. So yeah, I drove 4.5 hours after work on Friday up to Agnes Water, and I camped at a campground a little bit out of town, which I won't actually recommend because I didn't love it. So I wanted to stay out of town because I know the one in town is so busy because it's like right on the beach, but I think I would have preferred that over where I was actually staying, mostly for the location and just actually having people around. I wanted to be alone, but probably not that alone. So I went out Friday night, just camped. I got there on dark, so I just pretty much like had some dinner and went to bed. Then the next day I was going to the main beach for sunrise, and if you've been to Agnes, like you know how beautiful that main beach is, especially at sunrise. It was so nice. Like I just love sunrise, but the colors were so beautiful and there were so many people out, and yeah, it was really nice. So I did my morning walk on the beach there. And then as I was walking, like the surf was really good. And usually if I'm alone, and especially at like a new surf spot, I actually don't usually go surfing. And usually I have Ziggy as well. So that was something usually that I had to kind of think about. But I didn't have Ziggy, and it was really calm and like a nice little wave close to the shore. And there were only 3 other people out. So yeah, I ended up going for a surf. So I'm so proud of myself for doing that, because that is just not usually what I would do. So I was feeling very independent, very proud of myself. And then after that, I had some brekkie, and then I went into town. I just want to like look around the shops, and yeah, I bought some more incense, and yeah, just kind of like looked around all the shops and wandered around, had some lunch, and then I headed out to a different beach out of town. And as I was walking down, I was like walking past lots of people, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I missed the surf, like maybe it's not happening. And then when I got down there, yeah, pretty much everyone was coming out of the water. There were still 2 people out by the time I like walked up the beach, put my board down and was getting ready. They all left. So I definitely wasn't going to surf out there alone, because yeah, there's literally no one around, and it's like there's no, I think there was no phone service as well. Yeah, I had no phone service, and yeah, I just wasn't going to surf there alone. And I just laid there and read my Kindle, and it was the best day ever. I had my fruit salad, like it was so good. And then I headed back up the stairs around like early afternoon, went back to the campground to have a shower, and then I was going to take myself out for dinner at it's like a pizza shack on the beach there at 1770. And I got there and it was closed. So anyway, I went and like took some photos of the sun setting, and it's cool because you can kind of see both up there. I didn't really realize that, because it's like a peninsula, if that's what you call it. So that was beautiful. And I also had to write the script of the podcast. So I sat down at like a park bench and was just writing out the script. And while I was on the beach taking a photo of the sunset, I just glanced and got this guy's, like, we had eye contact, and it wasn't like a weird eye contact. It was just like we had contact. And then he said hi, I said hi, and that was it. I walked away, and I went and sat on the park bench, and then like a few minutes later he came and he found me, and he goes, were you here last week or a couple of weeks ago? And I said, no, like, do I have a doppelganger? And he said, yeah, well, no, maybe actually, I think it's just the energy. Like, you have this really beautiful feminine energy. And I was thinking, that is so nice for him to come over and say that. And it wasn't weird, it wasn't flirty or anything. He was just very genuine, conscious man. And yeah, I just kind of thanked him for that. And that was kind of the conversation. But yeah, people are so nice. And I just really love that, because I was also, yeah, I was feeling really good and so proud of myself. And yeah, it was great. So I ended up going out for fish and chips. I love fish and chips, especially like once you've spent the day like on the beach. Like I just have this craving for like chips and fish. So that's what I went and had, and it was so nice. I ate at the park and it was so good. And then the next day I actually ended up getting my period, so I was actually very slow. So I literally just laid in the sun for the whole day. It was so nice. And yeah, I just was just really relaxed and had some food out. And then by the time I checked the time and the tides, I realized that I had left it too late. And this was at 2:30 or 2 o'clock by the time I checked the tides. And yeah, I realized by the time I got home, I'd be waiting till, I think it was 10:30. I had to wait for the tides. It's a couple of weeks now, so I've already forgotten, but it was late. And yeah, so I ended up going and getting dinner and then eating it in the car at the beach. So that was nice anyway. And I got home eventually and I was in my own bed. But yeah, definitely living on a beach, it has its pros and cons. And I know everyone's like, oh, you live on the beach, like that's so amazing, and oh, lucky you, but definitely has its pros and cons. So yeah, if you are wanting to go on a holiday to Agnes, I highly recommend. I would say if you're camping, I would just stay at the one in town, but there's so much accommodation around anyway, so you're going to find a beautiful spot to stay. And if you want to like decide between Agnes and 1770, they're honestly so close, it actually doesn't matter. And yeah, I would like to stay in both if I was to go again, which I think we will while Zach is home, but they're both beautiful and you will love staying in either town. Another thing that I've been up to is I did my Vedic meditation course, and this is just to learn the Vedic meditation, not to teach. So I have been obviously meditating for years now, and the reason I wanted to do it was basically just to deepen my connection to myself, but also deepen my practice and deepen my relationship with like the universe around me, and cultivating this deeper practice, I guess. So if you don't know what Vedic meditation is, basically it's a meditation where you do it twice a day for 20 minutes and it's silence and you have a mantra that you repeat. And Laura made it quite an important thing to point out is it's not a mantra-based meditation, it's a transcendental meditation. And once you learn more about Vedic meditation, that will kind of make sense. So it was really beautiful. I actually learned about Laura when I first got here. I went to this like really beautiful ceremony with Hilary McVeigh, and she mentioned her Vedic meditation teacher. And I don't actually remember how it came up in conversation because it wasn't a meditation circle. And the funny thing is, when I was driving over to Queensland, moving from WA to Queensland, I wrote like a to-do list for Queensland, and the top thing was Vedic meditation. So it was just funny that she had mentioned that literally in the first month of me arriving here. So I sort of followed Laura's journey and all of her teachings and just like followed her on Instagram for the year, and I always knew that I would be doing her course. So yeah, I finally signed up and did the course. And Laura, if you want to learn Vedic meditation, Laura is like this embodiment of wisdom. Like, she's definitely lived 1,000 lives. Like, she's definitely from the Vedas. Like, I don't know. She's just full of wisdom. I absolutely just adored the space that she created and she taught from. Yeah, it was honestly amazing. So the first day you go and you get your mantra, and you basically have a ceremony and you get your mantra. And then the next 3 days is learning all about meditation, or that specific meditation. So we learned about like the principles of the Vedic meditation, what's happening during your meditation physically. And we also learn about like the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, and how meditation is helping you process unprocessed life experiences. So yeah, it was really, really amazing. And it was 3 days, and I literally could have done it for like 33 days. I just really loved Laura's energy and her teachings and her philosophy and just the way that she taught as well. It was really beautiful. So if anyone is interested, her name is Laura Poole, and actually I'll leave it in the notes so you can just go straight to her Instagram. She's full of wisdom if you want to learn Vedic meditation. Also, if anyone just wants to learn the foundations of meditation, Learn to Meditate is coming back next month. So make sure you follow me on social so you find and see the launch of that. So get ready for Learn to Meditate. I have revamped it. It's going to be so good. You're basically going to learn the foundations of meditation, why we meditate, what's going on in the body, similar to Laura's, but not Vedic approach. It's like a yogic approach, which is links to the Vedas. Anyway, if anyone wants to learn to meditate, come and find me on Instagram. I'll leave the links and everything below so you don't miss the launch. A few other things that have been happening, mostly just around health, because I share so openly on the podcast and even on my Instagram. I definitely share more here on the podcast. I share openly because as a health coach, I know that people put you on a pedestal and just think that everything is perfect. And I know that Instagram also leads to everyone thinking that everyone's life is perfect. And it's just honestly, it's not the case. So as a health coach, I like to share the things that I'm moving through because I like to help you understand that no matter who you are, there's always going to be things coming up. But I'm so dedicated to making my life healthier and happier every single day and making sure I'm living this optimal dream life. So this is why I share so openly. And I also think it's just good to share things that I'm going through, because I think a lot of times it's not mentioned in sort of the mainstreamy channels. So yeah, I like to talk about things that are not so mainstream to help you also bring awareness to these types of things. I mean, if you're listening to this, you're probably also not listening to mainstream channels, but it's just good to talk about. So I've been seeing my acupuncturist, and you already know if you've been listening, I was seeing him for my lower back problem that I had. And then I started seeing him also for my cycle, to lengthen my cycle. So when I first got to Queensland, my cycle just gradually has gotten shorter and shorter. And my entire life I've had a, well, except for like teenage years, but for my entire life I've had a 28-day cycle. It's been bang on. It's predictable. I'm not one who's had a lot of pain or anything uncomfortable. But since arriving in Queensland, my cycle has gotten shorter and shorter. So now it's 21 days and the bleed is 3 to 5 days, and it's gotten less. So I went to see Dita, my acupuncturist, to help with that as well. So he gave me some supplementation for my back and then also for my cycle. But he said, make sure you come back so we can assess what's working or what's not working. So the supplements he gave me didn't actually change anything. So I went back and he's given me a new supplement, which is like flower essence and things like that. So hopefully that then lengthens my cycle. But basically what we brought it down to was just stagnation in my liver chi, which doesn't directly mean my liver, but it also can. So yeah, once I spoke to him and opened up about things that were going on, it was very obvious that it was stagnant liver chi. So he worked on the points for that, and he also worked on some points for my cycle and my back as well. And after, or during even when the needles were still in there, I was having this like massive release, like a real deep relaxation. And I felt like I had fallen asleep on the bed, but I didn't, but that's how deeply I rested. And then I was almost a little bit like discombobulated when I came out. Like I couldn't really talk, I couldn't really focus. And I was like, I just need to get home and like relax. And I just felt so deeply relaxed. And yeah, I think maybe this is also why I've gotten sick, is because I've finally relaxed and allowed things to move, possibly. I'm such a big believer in that. So anyway, I seen Dita and I actually am feeling a lot better, even though I now have a flu of some kind. But for my back and like my energy, I actually feel really good. I also am seeing a naturopath now because, and my acupuncturist actually is a naturopath, but I kind of want to have more people in my life helping me with my well-being. And not that there's anything hugely wrong. I don't have any health crisis or any like, chronic illness. There's just a few things that I just want to tie up. So I'm going to make sure I go get full bloods and everything done to, really see literally where my numbers are, get all the stats for like all the bloods, the hormones, everything, and then go from there. So then I actually can go, okay, well, this actually is what's going on. This is what we can do to fix it. And I met this naturopath at the shop, and yeah, it was a really good meeting. So yeah, I am yet to go get my bloods, but I'm just hoping to, work on my cycle and a few other little niggling health things that I just want to get fixed. That's pretty much everything that's been happening. I'm such a firm believer, like, how you hear these things where they say, oh, it's all downhill from 30, or, yeah, of course you have bad knees because you're blah, 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 or, yeah, of course you have high blood pressure because you're over 50. You know how you hear these things? I'm just such a firm believer that that is just a load of crap, to be totally honest. I just feel like that's what the pharmaceuticals want you to believe, because then you buy all the things and then you keep the pharmaceuticals running, which is obviously the biggest business in the world. So yeah, I'm just such a believer in getting the right people in your circle to help anything that's going on, because I don't want to be the person that, I don't want to be the person that kept saying, yeah, I just have back pain. Oh, I just have back pain. Oh, I just have back pain. Like I have back pain for like 5 years or whatever the time was. And I just never settled. Like, I just didn't want to be like, well, yeah, I'm 32 now. Like, I just have back pain. So if you are also in that sort of frame of mind, like, this is just your friendly reminder to go and see the naturopath, see the acupuncturist, like, go get actual help. Like, don't put your health into the hands of like a doctor who's like a generalist. Like, go and see someone specific, especially naturopaths, dietitians, acupuncturists, Chinese herbalists, Ayurvedic practitioners. Like, go and see actual people that can help. Am I allowed to say that on here? I just did. So our weekly intention for this week is to check in at the end of the day and ask ourselves, did I live aligned with my dream life today? And I thought this was a really cool question because it's such a good way to keep us aligned. And I think sometimes at the end of the night, we're thinking like, could have done this, should have done this, would have done this. I think a really good question is to go, did this align with my dream life? And once we get through today's podcast, you're going to understand what your dream life actually specifically is for you. This question is going to really help you stay aligned. And I think it's so good if we do audit things rather than just keep things the same. I seen this quote by Kayla It Seems, or It Signs, I'm not sure how to pronounce her surname, but it was, if someone followed you around for 1 week, would they believe you're serious about your goals? And I just loved this because I was thinking, oh, if someone followed me around for a week, would they think that I was serious about my goals? So I thought this was really fitting for today's podcast because it's so true. Like, sometimes we think we're doing all the right things, but like, really, when we audit it, we might not be doing everything we can that's within our reach to live our dream life. So let's talk about living intentionally and living this life that you can design on your own, that you love and that you were excited to wake up for. I spoke about this last week, but when I first kind of realized that I was in control, like I'm the creator of my life, it was that moment just before I moved to Europe. So I was living in a small town and I was in a relationship, and everyone was kind of like settling down, you know, doing that sort of settling down thing. Nothing wrong with settling down, but for me, that just was not for me. It wasn't in the books for that time of my life. And it's just not something that I'm personally interested in, which is probably a topic for another time. So I really wanted to go traveling. Partner at the time wasn't too into it, so left everything and went overseas. And I just kind of got there and I realized, like, I actually get to be everything that I am and live aligned for what I feel like is aligned for me, and that my alignment is different to everyone else's. That's where this all sort of started, of me really living in alignment with actually what I wanted to do and be and become. I didn't want to keep waking up every morning doing the same thing with the same people, talking about the same thing, looking forward to the weekend, not feeling fulfilled by work, not feeling lit up from all of the people that I was hanging out with. I just craved so much more, but I just didn't know how to get it or if it was even possible for me. So if this is how you're feeling, like, you're not alone, and you do get to create a dream life. So keep listening. This one is for you. Let's first understand what intentional living means versus living on autopilot. If you're living on autopilot, it just means you're doing the same thing every day and looking forward to the weekend. You're waking up and you're not feeling super excited about anything. You've got this kind of like lack feeling. There's something kind of missing. You're not feeling super clear on your direction. You're not really sure what you're working towards. You're just sort of hanging out with the people that you're hanging out with. You're doing the work because your family approve of it. Or maybe you're thinking you should settle down and have kids and get married and do that thing. If you feel like you're living life just because everyone else around you is doing that, this is autopilot living. Now, intentional living is you're being conscious about who you put yourself around, the work you're doing, the things that you're saying, the things that you're doing. You're acting in a way that feels good for you. You're chasing your dreams. You're clear on what you want to do, and you're doing that. signs of living out of alignment is like this constant overwhelm. You feel exhausted from your calendar. You're feeling lost or stuck. You're feeling, drained, or you just aren't sure what your goal or your purpose is. This is generally signs of feeling like you're living on autopilot. And this is what I have previously felt. And even little things pop in and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling this. Right, where am I out of alignment? Where can I realign? If we think about it, most people are spending so much time and energy planning and getting excited for holidays versus time and energy in getting excited on just day-to-day life. I want you to ask yourself this check-in question. Did I live aligned with my dream life today? What would change? If you were to ask yourself that every day, what would change? And whatever's popped into your brain, that's something to work on. That's not by chance that popped into your mind. It's obviously current there and something that you would like to work. So you're like, Tegan, how do I live my dream life? What do you do? How do you become this? This is what we're going to do. We've got to understand and get really clear on these core pillars because they are foundation to transferring into your day-to-day life and transforming your life into your dream life and from going from autopilot to intentional living. So the first thing that we have to get really clear on is our values. Your top 3 core values is so important to understand because once you're clear on your values, decision-making becomes so much more clear. Once you know what your values are, you know how your day-to-day should look. You know what your habits should look like because you're aware of your values and that's where your priorities lie. So how do you find your core values? Now, the easiest and the most simplest way to do it is literally get a piece of paper and start writing down what a dream life looks like for you in 48 hours. Now, time and money aren't a thing. That's a really important thing to note. Time and money do not exist in your dream 48 hours. Write it down and whatever pops up, that's really clear. And the first thing that you would go and do, the first thought, the first lot of people you'd hang out with, whatever your dream life is, this will show you what your core values are. So like for me, for example, if I think about a dream day in my life, there's adventure, there's health, and there's beautiful relationships. That's my top 3 core values. Now, my freedom and my travel adventure, it comes first before relationships, which I know a lot of people put family first, which is fine if that is what your first core pillar is, but mine is adventure. If I am adventuring, I've got freedom, location freedom. If I'm living in different places, I am my best self. And that means I'm my best self for the relationships that I am in, and that includes family. Health is obviously something that I am hugely interested in. When I'm healthy, taking care of my health, when I have the freedom to book into the acupuncturist and the naturopath, I feel fully aligned. And then same with my relationships. I'm so conscious with who I hang out with and making sure that our values align somewhere. That's who I'm spending my time with, and I try to nurture them as much as I can. So they could also be your core values, but you might have your own. Family might come first, material things, certain location. It could be more like community. It could be your purpose. It could be what you're doing in the world. It could be love. It could be literally anything, but it's so good to get really clear on what your dream day in the life is. So then here you'll see your core values. I also want to mention that sometimes, and especially in the past, I have gotten carried away thinking that I want to settle down, have kids, get married, blah, blah, blah. But when I really come down to my true essence, that doesn't sit well with me. I actually don't want to settle down, get married, have kids. Eventually, yes, and like now coming later, like into my life, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely something that I'm considering. But through my 20s, I did not want to settle down. I did not want to buy a house. I did not want to have kids, and I did not want to get married. Of course, I wanted a relationship, and there was that aspect. But settling down for me in my 20s, it was not a thing that I wanted. But often I would start questioning myself, start looking at land, start looking at houses, start thinking about these things. And it just never fully aligned with me. So I'm grateful that I've stayed on my track and I've continued to travel and to stay aligned with me. I thought that would be good to mention because I know that these are two really big polar opposites, especially for women, because I feel like most women would like to settle down and have a family, where there are a few of us others out here that actually that doesn't align with. So that's important to mention because I could have very easily settled down, got married and have kids. And I'm so glad that I haven't because I feel aligned. I feel like I'm living my life and not someone else's. Now, let's talk about daily habits, the things that you do daily. Like if you think about what you're doing right now, is this serving your higher self? And does it align with those core values? We want to think about your daily life, like your life right now is created by all the habits that you have. For example, if you're saying, I want to be healthy, I want to be healthy, I want to be healthy, yet you're not going to the gym or you're not doing movement every single day, then your daily habits don't align with your core value. If you want to feel lethargic, then is adding 3 hours in the evening sat by the TV, eating poor food, going to help that dream life? Yeah, if you want to become lethargic. So we need to start assessing the things that we're doing daily and see if that's a part of our dream life. And if they're not, you just start with one and you work on that. For example, if I think about like my transformation, I used to not want to drink and it didn't align with me. And it took me so long to stop drinking. But the daily habit that I was doing is I would be speaking to people about when we're going to drink on the weekend or the weekdays. I would be drinking. So those were my daily habits, right? Encouraging the drinking aspect. So then I had to start saying things like, no, I'm not drinking this weekend, or I'm going to have just one or two, which was part of the process. So you have to start thinking about what are my daily actions that I'm doing daily that aren't actually aligning with my dream life, and what can I add in to really increase that dream life alignment so then we can live and feel like we're content and we're happy and we're healthy in our dream life. So really assess what your habits are right now and figure out what needs to stop and what needs to be changed. And honestly, start with one, because I think it's so easy to be like, right, I'm going to exercise every day. I'm going to drink 2 liters of water every day. I'm going to move state. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to get a husband. Like we think we can do everything at once. But the way that the human works is if you do one thing and do it really well, you'll be amazing. And then you can do the next thing. Now let's start to look at our environment. So this is physical, like our physical environment, our body, our friends, our family, our house, but also digitally, like who we're following on socials, what we're looking at on our phones, because we have such a big environment on our phones now that it's really important to assess that as well. So firstly, check that your home and your town that you're living in is aligning with you. If your house doesn't feel inspiring, motivating, and aligned, you just get to change that. And of course, it might take some time, or maybe I'm not saying move states right now, but I'm saying that make your house feel inspiring for you and align it with your life. This is also like your friends, your community, your relationships, your partner, the gym you go to, the work you're doing, and the people that you follow on Instagram. Like your environment creates who you are. And if you've heard that saying, we become the average of the 5 people we hang out with the most, you want to make sure those 5 people are inspiring, motivating, aligned with your values. They're also happy and healthy. Simple stuff. So work on your environment. And this can take a lot of time, like especially if you're like, I really want to move states or towns. I am well aware it takes time. I wanted to move to Queensland for however many years now, and I'm finally here. Be aware and be ready to accept that some things do take time. Check your environment in your phone as well, because I think so many people just follow thousands of people on Instagram, but you want that to be really curated. You want that to be inspiring and motivating. If you're following someone and they don't inspire you to be the healthiest and the happiest person, get rid of them, delete them, unfollow them, block them, do whatever you have to do to get them off of your feed, because we spend a lot of time on our phones. It might as well be encouraging, right? Then the fourth thing that we want to work on is our boundaries. And boundaries has such a hit word at the moment, but we want to start saying no to misaligned commitments and saying no to things that don't align with our future self for that dream life, right? So every time you say yes to something and then you realize it drains you, you're saying no to your dream life. And this can be saying no to events, saying no to drinks, saying no to unhealthy food, saying no to the bar and you go to the gym instead. It's just figuring out what your boundaries are. And this is around food, finances, relationships, friendships, the work you do, the things you say, the human that you are, just figuring out what your boundaries are and living in alignment with them. And if you're creating new boundaries, it can take a bit of time to really sink into that and to embody your new boundary, but be patient and remember you might have to just reinstall those boundaries with yourself and with other people multiple times. Time and energy audits. So when we think about like time and energy audits, we want to think about where am I spending my time and where am I spending my energy, and does that align? You kind of want to do this in your like weekly wrap up and go, right, where was my time spent? Where was my energy spent? What felt good? What didn't feel good? And work out what feels aligned and what doesn't. If you think about like you've spent time at a job that doesn't feel really good, well, that's just something to then change over time, right? I'm not saying quit your job, go do something else. I'm saying, well, figure out what direction you'd like to go in first, so then you can aim at that and work towards that. Same as your energy. I feel like when you hang out with a certain group of friends and you feel depleted, this is a good sign that, well, you're either exhausted, you're either an introvert and you need to be alone, or that friends just aren't aligning with you anymore. And that's totally okay. Like we all grow and sometimes we grow apart, and that's part of evolving. And that I just think is so fine that we grow apart from people. It's not a them problem. It's just that you're an evolving human being and sometimes we don't always align. So audit where you've spent your time and where you've spent your energy to make sure you then realign and then stay on track with that dream life that we wrote about with our values. Here are some things that I personally do and I do with my clients to help us live a life that we are designing and that we are creating, because we are the creators. We get to decide. I'm a healthy person who travels and has a beautiful community, whatever your core values are. So the first thing is visualization, and this can be in a meditation or just if you're good at daydreaming or you go on a walk without a podcast and you visualize. So what you do is you walk yourself through that dream day in the life that you wrote about, and you walk yourself through the situations that you want to experience, do, be, become. And what this does is it just helps you create that internally, so then externally you can start to do it as well. So visualize, that's the first thing. Second thing is journaling and asking yourself the right questions. First things first is get really clear on that 48 hours of what you would do. Then the second thing is, what does my ideal day look like? Ideally, what does your day look like? Now, what you can do is you can dream about that. You know, that 48 hours, time, money on a thing, dream massive. But what you can also do is go, what could my ideal day look like right now? Okay, I technically don't have the money to go traveling to Africa or to drop my job and work at something else. Ideally today, what could it look like? Right, I'm going to pop some money aside for Africa. I'm going to apply for a different job, or I'm going to apply for a course to get me that dream job, or I'm going to start a business on the side. Whatever it is, and just going, what does my ideal day look like today? The second question is, where am I not being honest with myself? I think this is a really good question because often we tend to tell ourselves little fibs and just think, oh, it's okay. So asking yourself, where can I be more honest with myself? And what small change could I make today that would make a big impact? And this is literally things like do a 20-minute meditation, go on a 20-minute walk, eat a healthy meal, join up to the gym, call a friend, write my visualization, whatever the thing is, and do that, because it will probably be something that you can implement right now. So journaling is huge for just getting all your thoughts out, but also creating this dream life and getting really clear on it. So when you're feeling really unclear, this is a beautiful tool to use. The third thing is do a calendar audit. Show me your calendar and I'll show you your priorities. So if your actual priorities aren't on there, they probably should be. And just ask, does my calendar reflect my priorities and my core values? The last one is create a vision board. I think like this was such a trend like however many years ago, these vision boards, and then I feel like no one's talking about them now, but I think they're game changing. Just having your vision board, like I have mine just here, just having it there in the corner of your eye just reminds you, oh yeah, this is what I'm working towards. Oh yeah, that's who I'm becoming. Oh yeah, that was that goal. Like, because if it's not written down, you forget about it, you get confused, you get taken on other people's paths. Like, if it's not written down or in front of you, it's so easy to forget. We live in such an overstimulated world. I just think it has to be there. And sometimes what I've done in the previous years is sometimes I will hide my vision board. Like, it will be there, but like I won't have access to look at it directly every day, because sometimes I think like, and my goals are huge, right? Sometimes I think I'm never going to get to that. So I just pop it away because I don't need to be reminded that it's so far away. I just put it to the side to then go, I'm working on it daily. My actions are here. I don't need to be reminded how far away it is. But vision boards, I think, are game changing, and they just keep you aligned. Like, they keep you focused on actually what your goals are rather than getting distracted by what everyone else's goals are. If we don't constantly work on our dream life, our subconscious will run our life. And your subconscious is created from all of your beliefs, stories, and everything that happened in the last however many years you've been alive. So we want to switch on our conscious brain and go, okay, what do I actually want to do, be, and become? And to be aware that as a human being, you want to always revert to being comfortable. So that's why it's hard to implement habits and this new dream life of yours, because you're a human being and you like to stay comfortable, and that is totally okay. But today we just take responsibility for aligning action with our dream life, because we know we are the creator and you get to create the dream life that you want to live. And just remember, it doesn't have to happen overnight. Like, these things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and good things do take time. It's just aligning our actions, aligning our beliefs, and staying on that track and doing everything that we can in our way to create that life for ourselves. If you are feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, stuck, lost, this is for you. You get to live your dream life. It's just around the corner. You just have to do a few of these things and align, and trust me, you're going to feel so much better, and you'll probably feel better as soon as you get a vision board up or you figure out your top 3 core values. I'm going to leave this podcast here. So until next week, enjoy your life, do things that make your heart happy, and shine in your authenticity. Bye.